the applications drop down. So right now we are into sales application. Fine. This will take you to the help and all. Then the setup link. So if you click on the setup, it will open the complete setup menu in the left hand side. So on the left hand side you see a big menu, administer, build. This is the setup menu. Okay. So in case you are not able to see the setup menu on the left side, you just need to go and click on setup. The moment you click on setup here, you see the complete menu on the left hand side. Right. So that's the setup menu. Now you see your name here. If you go to your name, click on your name, and there you will find my settings. If you click on my settings, this will take you to your personal settings. On the left hand side you will see my settings and all, right? So in case you want to do your personal setting and all, you should go to your name, click on that and click on my settings to do the personal setting and stuff. In case you want to do any sort of setup, so setup basically includes, setup menu includes everything which can be done on this, right? Starting from putting the data into the system, to customizing it, to building new things on it, everything comes under setup. Automation. So whatever you have to do it through setup. So this is the menu, right? So we just saw that we have an application drop down here. Which application we want to see, that will be available here. We can select one of the applications from this applications drop down. We will have the setup menu to do any sort of changes, and we do have my settings where we can go and make changes to our personal settings. Clear? Okay. The first thing, once you have created a login, first thing I would want to tell you is, in case you want to change your personal setup or personal settings rather, right? Something as simple as your name, email ID, or password. So in case you want to change those things, go to my settings, go to personal, click on personal information, and you will have the option of changing your first name. In whatever you have put while creating it and you want to change that, you can come here and change it. Your nickname, phone, extension, fax, mobile, street, city, whatever you want, you can put it here. Right? Want to change your password, time zone, these things can be done easily from here. So that's your personal setting thing. Anyone has a question on how to change your personal settings? This is the simplest thing. I just want to tell you that where you can go to change your login ID or name or password thing. So you just need to go to my settings and change these things. Clear on this? Now once this has been done, let us understand it step by step. Let's say you are running a business. Okay, let's take a scenario that there's a business. Let's say there is this company called ABC Limited. Okay, and they want to start using Salesforce for the CRM that they have, the CRM data that they have. So they want to start using Salesforce. So the first thing that they do is they approach Salesforce and they get their login ID password. So you got the login ID password, right? So how it works, I'll tell you. This company might have 10-20 users. Okay, let's say this company has 20 users, so they have applied for 20 licenses. So salesforce.com will do what? They will create one login ID and password and give it to this company. Okay, and from this one login password, from this login, the first user who logs in, let's say I am the first user who logs in. After getting into my login, I have that option of creating users, creating other users. So in the setup, if you see, there is an option of creating other users. You can manage users from here. So salesforce.com, even if you ask them for 20 licenses or 50 licenses, they will just create the first login and give it to you. So one of your company's users will take that login ID password, log into it, and then start creating login password for others. So they don't create all the users or licenses and give it to you. Licenses they provide, but users you can create later on. They will create the first one and give it to you, right? So that is how it's going to work. So let us start understanding how the setup will be done. So you just took the login ID password from Salesforce, they have provided it to you. So the next thing that you do is you will do your personal setup in case you want to do it, right? So let's say you have received the first login ID password. You go into it, you try to change your password and all those things because that is something which was created by salesforce.com. You do it, okay? The next thing that you will need to do is you will need to set up your organization. Setting up your organization means put the details of the company. Okay, so your company's name is ABC Limited. You will have a phone number, fax, and all these things. So that is what we will do next. So for setting up company, we need to go to the setup menu, click on setup, then go to company profile, and then go to company information. So in the company information, as you can see right now, the organization name is undefined. So you can click on edit and define your company's name. Let's say ABC Limited is the name of your company. If there's a phone number, fax number, street, city, whatever you want to put in case you want to provide that information, right? So this is the basic information of your company. Then the locale settings of your company. Locale settings means set up the currency in which your company deals in, the time zone and the language. So yeah, uses US currency you want to use, or you want to use Malaysian currency or Pakistani currency. So which currency you want to use, you will have to select that, right? Time zone, you have to select which time zone your company operates in. Okay, and these are all useful information. So wherever there is a currency transaction, wherever you want to store information about currency, it will take the currency symbol from what you have defined here. So same way, if there is anything to do with time, it will consider the specific time in case you have selected this. Okay, and language also, you have to select which language you want to deal into. You want French or Russian or English, right? So Salesforce is something which is not being used only by countries which speak English, right? It is being used by other countries also. So for that they have provided different languages. So language and all is there. So this is the first kind of setup that you do for your company. So create, once you log into it, do your personal setting, then go to the company setup and put the name of the company and do the locale setting for the company, the currency that you want to use, the time zone that you want to use, and the language that you want to use for your company. Okay, The next thing that you do set here is under company profile is your fiscal year. Fiscal year is the financial year, your company's financial year, right? Why do we need to set the financial year here in Salesforce? Because that is something which will help you do reportings properly. So we are not getting into reporting right now, but at a later point of time when we get into reporting and stuff, when we start doing reporting, then you will realize that for that reporting purpose, it's good if we define the fiscal year correctly for the company. That will help you do the reporting in a proper manner. Okay. So fiscal year thing is there. You can define your company's fiscal year. Okay, most of the times companies do have a fiscal year of 4 quarters, 3 months per quarter. That is the basic kind of a fiscal year. Fiscal year is financial year, right? So most of the times companies follow a 4-quarter financial year where every quarter is of 3 months, right? So in case you have that kind of a financial year, then you should select standard fiscal year. Okay, and define the start month. So sometimes it is in April, sometimes it is in October. So whatever is your financial year's thing, just define that. This is something very helpful in reporting. Then we have a custom fiscal year as well, right? So this custom fiscal year is, some companies follow a different type of fiscal year where they have a 13 weeks quarter. So instead of using a 3 months quarter, they use a 13 weeks quarter. In case you have that kind of a financial year, then use a custom fiscal year and then go and define your custom fiscal year. But till that time you are not aware of that complex fiscal year thing, keep it on the standard fiscal year. Most of the companies follow a standard fiscal year and you should keep it here and not make it custom fiscal year, because this custom fiscal year is irreversible. So once you have made, converted standard into custom, you cannot come back to standard. So that is the thing. So till the time we are not very sure that your company requires a custom fiscal year, don't change it to that thing. Okay. Then business hours. For company information, the next information that you will have to put is the business hours. Now, why do we need to put the business hours? Business hours is basically the time when the company or the business operates. Okay. So for business hours, you can define your working hours for any particular team. Now, if you are thinking that why should we put that thing here? Why should we put our company's business hours in this Salesforce? If you define the business hours correctly, that will help you automate some of the things like escalations. Let's say there is a customer support team and they work on a certain SLA, right? And there is a rule that you want to define that anything which is not any customer query or any customer case which is not resolved in 10 hours should be escalated, right? So that auto escalation thing can be done if you define business hours properly, because for that calculation purpose it should just use the business hours, not all the hours, right? So those 10 hours should be calculated out of the business hours, your working hours, right? So that is the reason why business hours need to be defined here. And holidays. So holidays, again you might be thinking, why do we need to put holidays here? So no other logic, just that holidays are the days when the business hours are suspended. So for any holiday, it can be Saturday or Sunday. Your business hours should not be counted for Saturday, Sunday, right? Otherwise you will get all the escalations on Saturday. So a holiday means your team is not working, so there should not be escalations or there should not be calculation of those business hours on those days, right? So for that reason we can define holidays here. So if you define a holiday, you can see holidays are dates and time at which business hours are suspended. So the business hours are suspended for your holidays. Okay. So clear on this? Now tell me if we have any question. So what we have done today we just learned about different editions. Then we created our own login. Then we just had a look onto the interface. We understood that there's a list of applications. There is a setup menu and there's a my settings menu, right? And we have also learned how to go and make changes to my personal settings, and we have learned how to make changes to my company's profile, right? So in the company, basically we have learned putting the basic information like name, address, phone, fax. We have learned how to change the locale settings like currency, time zone, language. We have learned how to put the fiscal year or the financial year for the company so that it can be used in reporting. That reporting part will come a little later in this course, but I just wanted you to understand how that fiscal year can be set for the company. We talked about the business hours, right? So your business hours are the timings when your team works, and this is something which will help you do auto escalations. So again, how that will be done, that is something which we will talk a little later. And your holidays. So holidays are the days when the business hours are suspended, right? Tell me if we have any questions here so far, or if we are clear on this.